an improvement in the overall amount of protected characteristics data, so continuing that positive trend, improved tenant and landlord relationships, and an increased level of tenant engagement as well. So that about sums up everything. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Alex, thank you very much for that, and a terrific job.
Thank you.
That you and the team are doing. I mean, data cleansing is good for our health. You know,
it is.
A good thing.
Yes.
Are there any questions? One from me, if I may. The more we understand tenants' disabilities should enable us to be more proactive with the visits that our contractors make. So, for instance, they should know that it might take somebody an extra minute or two to come to the door.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Is that being
Yes, that's certainly
through?
being factored in. When we look at online household review form, we're going to be putting in questions around reasonable adjustments to make sure that both the officers visiting the tenants and the tenants themselves feel comfortable enough to be able to discuss any adjustments that they might need. We're also, as I mentioned, working in collaboration with Guildford Borough Council, who are also looking at this particular issue within their own borough. So the visits that they're making to their tenants and protected characteristics. And hopefully with that working group, we'll be able to have a really in-depth look at where information is perhaps getting missed through the process, or where gaps are appearing and when needs are not being met. And hopefully we can design solutions to those issues as well, because I'm fully aware of how frustrating it is when people express the need for support and they don't end up getting it always. It's unfortunately relatively common for disabled people. So yeah, it's something I'm very passionate about working on.
I think we can tell that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much,
No problem.
Alex. Nessan?
Thank you, Chair. Now that we've started collating the data, so the next step is to use the collator to find out exactly in what way we're going to actually change our way that we serve our residents. So that will help. So we're going to look at a policy.
I think this is great. This data clear up job, etc. I mean, you may think it's unglamorous, but it's incredibly important.
Oh no, I quite enjoy it.
And it's actually interesting, and it gives you so much intelligence as to what's going on, which is what we need. And I just wondered, I just had an idea about what the feasibility would be to put up some sort of generic little plaque on various places informed by the intelligence to say, please give residents a little extra time to get to the door. I mean, could we not just do that anyway, proactively on certain places, rather than, I mean, I did that for my dad's house when I was there looking after him, because he never got to the door on time. I mean, I'm all for, you know, sort of proactive stuff being put on the outside or somewhere, so that, you know, rather than it being individually based.
I think that would need to be a tenant's choice to do that. That's something we can offer, but it would need to be a personal choice. Because historically I am aware of certain areas where if every property had a key safe outside, it was perceived as an area where it might be easier to do unsavoury, unnice things. But absolutely, where we can help people, and as Alex was saying, it's all about the reasonable adjustments. We've said throughout the improvement plan, we need to know our properties, we need to know our tenants, and then we can make sure we're delivering the services the right way to our residents. So it's a great piece of work. Thank you.
Well, Alex, thank you very much for that. And I'm sure we're all pleased to note your report and your work, and the fact that we seem to have, other than those people aged 126 or whatever, who slipped through the millennium bug some 26 years ago, that we have 3 people over 100, which gives me hope.
Indeed, yes.
Right, okay. Alex, thank you very much for that. Moving back then to our agenda, the LSAB terms of reference item number 7. Annalise, are you going to deal with that, or? Oh, you will. All right.
Hi.
Okay. I can't see behind.
Lovely. Sorry, hi everyone, and sorry I can't be with you in person this morning. My name's Alex Govier. I'm a joint executive advisor for Guildford and Waverley, and I've been working on updating some of the terms of reference for our advisory boards and working groups. So you'll see in the cover report and the associated annex that there's only been quite high level changes to the terms of reference for the Landlord Services Advisory Board. Just a bit of background for you. In the autumn, the executive approved a new protocol for working groups and advisory boards, which was adopted into the Waverley Borough Council constitution. And that meant that the terms of reference just needed some minor changes to make them align with what's in the constitution now. And we've worked through those changes in consultation with the directorate, so with Annalisa, with Paul, the portfolio holder, and our governance colleagues as well. So there haven't been any material changes to the role, the scope, or the membership of the board, and it really won't affect how the board operates currently. So the key changes are outlined in summary in the cover report for you. They include accountability and reporting, just aligning them with that protocol, and changing the mandatory reporting to the executive from biannually to annually. However, that doesn't mean that the board can't report back to the executive as much as it deems fit. The decision-making and voting rights on the board have just been clarified to reflect the unique and special role of the board at Waverley. It's quite unique compared to all of the working groups and boards, and outline that protocol you have in place for agreeing recommendations to the executive. The description of the meeting frequency and quorum requirements has been clarified but not materially changed. And again, the advisory board support has just been updated to reflect that unique and special role that the board has. So that is all kind of I had to share with you today. If you do have any questions, I'm happy to take them. But yeah, that's kind of my update in summary.
Thank you, Alex. Thanks for doing that. Do we have any difficult questions or any easy questions for Alex? Like, I note, by the way, Alex, that we do not need to meet in person. On the other hand, I think it's an awful lot better to meet in person rather than trying to make our team's operation work. But should there ever be a need, it's worth bearing that in mind, that we can move into the 21st century, unlike the rest of the council. Everybody happy with Alex's report? Alex, thank you for being with us this morning.
No, thank you very much. And sorry again, I can't be with you in person.
That's right. Item 8 then on our agenda, which is with Terry. Is that right, Terry?
Yes.
So Smith and Byford handling procedures.
Yes. So, sorry, I'll start again. So this comes about from our discussions at the last meeting of the tenant panel and tenants' concern about the service being provided by Smith and Byford. Following that, we invited Smith and Byford officers to attend our tenant panel meeting on the 4th of March, and a lady named Mandy and a gentleman named Chris came along. Unfortunately, it was unclear as to what position they held within the organisation. They didn't make that clear. But the tenant members present covered an outline of the perception that they had of the poor customer services and not being customer focused. I won't go through all the list, but it was the difficulty in reporting repairs, the delays on the telephone, little flexibility, missed appointments made not suitable for tenants, and tenants being blamed for missed appointments, it always seems to be that if it doesn't take place, it's the tenant's fault. Tenants were made to feel that that they were a nuisance, really. That's how we felt, and particularly if you asked questions or challenged. And challenging is not being rude. It's but booking repairs directly with Smith and Bytham, we feel that because Waverley are out of that loop, and we're not too sure where complaints go, does the tenant complain directly to Smith and Bytham because that's who they made the appointment with? And therefore, are we missing some of those as resident officers of Waverley? Their response really was that they have a new phone system and they're having difficulty with that phone system and are trying to adjust that. Their callback system was down and not working correctly. And I believe I was told yesterday that there was an issue because we phoned to Waverley and then that's redirected. You can offer to direct it to Smith and Bytham, that their system didn't recognise that as a booking. So, you know, hopefully they're going to then address that. The tenant, they were working with their track operators in developing a new system to deal with tenants' queries and bookings. But I think to me, they said that actually when they came online with the contract 3 years ago. So not so impressed with that one. They say that there's 70% success rate, which is not particularly good, but it's their own records, you know, and we can't challenge that at the moment. But hopefully that's going to improve shortly. They're increasing their staff. They've lost staff recently, and they're bringing on new people. But they need then to go through the training process. So you can't expect that to change too quickly. And they need to be more aware of tenants and the requirements of tenants and the difficulty of tenants. And just to give an example that's happened in the last 3 days, I got a message from a tenant that had received a letter to say that they were coming on the Tuesday to do the servicing. About 4 days notice she had. She told them she can't do that because she works. Her husband works and her son works, but could do a Thursday or Friday. But the discussion, I'm told, went that, no, it's got to be the Tuesday. If you can't be there, well, we're going to come along and we'll put a notice on there that's a failed appointment. So that happened, got a failed appointment. She made a call again to say, we need to make an appointment. Yes, we can do it on the Tuesday, the next Tuesday. Well, I work on the Tuesday. I can't do it on the Tuesday. But don't worry, we'll have to get an extension for Waverley if you can't do that. So the point, again, they turn up and leave a note. So she goes back again and they said, oh, it's okay now because Waverley have agreed that you can extend. So we can give you another appointment. We'll do it next Tuesday, the 31st. And I felt, well, are they being obstructive? Are they just being silly? Or what is it? I got involved, and with the help of Richard Marsh and his team, and Jenny, the lady got a telephone call and the appointment has now been arranged. I don't know what has been arranged, but it's just so frustrating. And that's what we're getting a lot of the time. Most of the tenants that you talk to nowadays are saying that they're not customer focused and we need to do something. So following that meeting, the tenant panel decided that we'd actually have a workshop and try and see if we could bring something together to improve the way that bookings and appointments are made. So we had a 3-hour session actually, and we've come up with some proposals that will sort of be like a service level agreement that hopefully I'll be able to submit to this board next month. And we're looking at it being across the board, so it's not just not just Smith and Bytham, but Ian Williams and any other contractor and even officers, the procedure they should follow, keeping the tenants informed. as we keep saying, it's that communication, and it's letting us down all the time. But thank you.
Thanks, thanks, Terry. Any comments, Nissan?
Thank you, Terry. And I know that the example that you cite is not acceptable. I will investigate that. It is important that we deal with those matters very robustly. A couple of things I would say is that going forward, I think the independent transactional survey will give us a bit more insight about how the handling of the calls and everything else. So we will be able to get more information, as well as hot alerts where residents have complained about the way in which it's been handled. So I think it's, we will have that insight very soon. We'll share with you. And secondly, it's also about the phone call. I believe that we have dealt with that option from our end, so that it goes straight into the in there. So that's been dealt with. As for the service standard, I think we would like to work with you. I think your point is exactly right about who to complain. I think it's important that we have visibility, and same way as that we have now implemented with Pylon, remember, following your complaint. So there's a sheet for customers to call us directly so that we have more visibility. But the important thing about service standards, we need to be mindful of the contract. We need to be mindful of the Ian Williams contract as well as that. So I think that needs to reflect what we can expect from them, because that's the contractual arrangement. But we need to work with you. We will work with you on that matters.
Yeah, I understand that, the notifying of tenants in advance has not been in the contract. But actually, when Smith and Byford, we met with them 2 or 3 years ago, they said that was their policy. So, thank you.
Paul, yes, please.
Thank you, Chair. Just also want to confirm that I confirmed with Smith and Byford on the 19th of March in the contract meeting that the call waiting time has now come down to 5 minutes. The 3 staff that have been employed are actually on the call lines. We're obviously working with them in regards to data, as well as the complaints, such as the one you gave as example, and other complaints. We're trying to make it more robust. So the service level agreement, as you stated, would be a fantastic amendment to their contract as well, because we're also looking at putting in extra detail to that of financial implications, etc. But obviously we are robustly, hopefully with the TLF surveys as well, going to put more stringent impedances, if you will, against obviously Smith and Byford.
Well, thank you all, and Terry, thank you and the tenants panel for putting that together. I think we all understand that the triangular relationship between Waverley, our tenants, and our contractors is very, very important to make it work, that it doesn't get broken up in one of the links. Thank you all for that, and we're happy to note and thank you for that work, Terry. Item 9 then, budget update quarter. Over to the people who can add up.
Yeah, I hope so. Anyway, just bear with me. I'm going to put a presentation up on my screen, if you don't mind. Hopefully. Great. Okay. There we go. All right, brilliant. Thank you. So this is the Q3 financial monitoring for 25-26 for the HRA. So I'm going to just take you through some key headlines. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the HRA is forecasting a total saving of 1.4 million for 25-26 against the approved budget. There's a little snip on the screen. I don't expect you to see that. It's just a snip from the monitoring, but I'll go through now in terms of what those variances are made up of. So there is a 417,000 forecast underspend within the HRA on staffing budgets. So the service is continuing to experience those challenges in recruiting, especially those hard to fill posts, but they are making every effort to fill those roles currently. An overachievement of 142,000 in dwelling rent income is also forecast. It sounds like a lot of money, but it's a minor variance when compared to the 34.6 million estimated rental income. So that certainly doesn't mean we're taking more rent off of people. It's just where the estimate comes out versus the actuals. We've got a 662,000 underspend in the cyclical maintenance, and this is mainly due to delays in procuring, particularly the supplier for the Legionella compliance programme. But offsetting this is a 321 forecast overspend within the void works budget. So this is currently under review and will be partially offset by that underspend above, and finance are working with the service to understand this trend and find ways to mitigate those overspends. There is a 287,000 utility saving forecast. Caveat that with the fact that this was written a couple of months ago, and obviously utilities are about to take another hit with everything going on in the economy. But this has meant that we've got savings in 25-26, and what it's also meant, we built this into 26-27, and so that's avoiding those previously large planned service charges increases, particularly to the senior living tenants. So that's a great news for them. It's just in line with inflation now. Obviously, this will be kept under review now for 26-27. In terms of the capital programmes, the new development is forecasting an underspend of 3.5 million, but the majority of that will be carried forward into 26-27 for those ongoing schemes. Under the major works programme, there are underspends of 2.9 million. Again, this has been driven by delays in reprocurement and some resourcing issues. Again, a large amount will be carried forward into the next financial year. So lastly, in terms of debt within the HRA, there's a reported debt of around £500,000, in terms of rent, and then another £500,000 in terms of recharges and leaseholders. The housing team are working really closely on this, particularly that area of leaseholder and recharge income debt. So in terms of the finance team, we've obviously just set the budget, which I do apologise, I wasn't at this board for, I was unwell, but that was the last budget in terms of Waverley Borough Council setting it for the HRA. We're now moving into year-end preparation work, so we've started that work on the final accounts. So the next update will be that outturn report that you'll see to this committee, and work is also underway in terms of LGR and the move to West Surrey and what that means for the housing revenue account. And then lastly, any questions? Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Candice. That was one of the best presentations because it was so to the point. Anybody, any questions? I have one. Which would you prefer, underspend or overspend?
Well, actually, what I prefer is you spend to budget because you've said it for a reason. So we don't welcome underspends, but certainly more than an overspend, yeah.
But it does point out the fact that underspends indicate that we are that they are really tough to and should be dealt with, and things that you don't want any more than you want overspends. Thank you for that, and thank you for keeping us all together over the last however many years. No more questions. Thank you very much. Well noted. Thanks, Candice. Right. So on to our performance scorecard and exceptions report. Louisa, I think if you can provide us with a magnifying glass, just to identify one or two of these, if there's anything that you want to pull out on that report, I'd appreciate it.
So again, just the exceptions really, just those indicators where we've not met target particularly. So I hope you've all had a chance to have a look at those red flags in advance, and I'm sure some of you will have noted we've got some additional performance reporting for damp and mould. Now, those have been reflected in accordance with AWAB's law, and I'm pleased to see we've only got one indicator for damp and mould where we've not met the target. That was make safe any emergency hazards within 24 hours. That's where they've got an imminent risk to health and safety. The target obviously is 100%, and we met at 94%, which is below which the target was not met. There were 48 cases. 45 of those were completed within the 24 hours, with just the 3 additional ones resolved within 48 hours, and that was due to access issues. And in fact, access issues is a common theme, which sort of tells the story around some of our poor performing areas, really. So just to say, collectively, I mean, we're working closely, collaboratively across the service area with housing management and legal, where applicable, to really sort of home in on those access issues and make sure we're getting to those jobs in time. So just to pick up first on compliance then, two targets that were just within tolerance for electrical was percentage of homes which all required electrical installation condition reports have been carried out. Target's 99.5. We were 98.2. We were within tolerance, but obviously we want to be hitting target every time on compliance areas. Again, missed due to access issues, as were the percentage of homes for which all required smoke alarms have been installed. Again, it was access issues that stopped us from meeting those targets, and say Paul and the team are working very closely with housing management there to address those. The other areas where we're not making target, again, is responsive repairs. Again, as we know, there's always a story behind these. So the first one is IWO2, percentage of non-emergency responsive repairs completed within 28 calendar days. Target's 95%. We hit 86%. Just to put it in some kind of context, there were 129 jobs which were completed beyond the 28 days. And in most cases, those were around the formal extension, to the extensions of time there. And they're around the types of works, the types of jobs that were required, linked to variation in the scopes, and also tenant availability. Sometimes our tenants aren't there to be able to, to make sure that we can hit those 28 days. So the average completion time of all the 129 jobs, however, was 52 days. And just to kind of get your assurance around, every time there are jobs where we are not going to meet those 28 days, they are discussed in detail at the operational meetings with Ian Williams and ourselves. The second responsive repairs area where we've not hit was the average number of days to complete a non-emergency responsive repair with Ian Williams. 15 calendar days is a target, and we met 17. There were 5 jobs that exceeded the 100 days in duration, which impacted the overall turnaround time. However, 62% were completed within the 15-day target, and the remaining 38 involved a wide range of works, from wet room floor renewals to front door installations, where often they required pre-inspections, material orders, or manufacturing bespoke items. So again, it's just really to draw your attention to the fact that there's always a story behind each and every individual case here. Next area, I think, is Smith and Byford. We've partially covered this really through Terry's briefing and then Paul's response. Really, it was a percentage of non-emergency responsive repairs completed within 28 calendar days. Target 99.5%. We met 85.5%. And again, hopefully that's going to be addressed now that they're onboarding additional staff. Paul's spoken about that reduction in the call waiting times, which is really positive. And again, 23 of those appointments were missed due to resident access issues. So again, progressing those through various channels, such as callback request procedures. I won't pick up on too many more, don't worry. Tenant arrears, we spoke about finance tenant arrears. That's has reduced slightly this month. We've not met our target. Our target is 1.4%. We were 1.62%. But just to say, performance remains within the top quartile levels, and we've still had no evictions to date. I'm really pleased to say that Deb and the rent team have successfully recruited to 2 officers who are joining shortly. That's getting the team back to full capacity. So hopefully that we'll see those reductions continuing over the next few months. And just on complaints, level 2 complaints, target 95%, we met at 85.7%. Again, contextually, that was just 1 out of 7 level 2 complaints we received. We responded to 1 day late, and that was due to internal sign-off delays. Yeah. So any questions, please, on performance this month?
Thanks, Louisa. And there's always a problem in terms of percentages when you're dealing with small numbers. And I think the executive has recognised that too in some of the ombudsman reports as well. Any questions from Terry? No. No. I take that point about no evictions, by the way. That's That's great. And also the sorry, Nessun, go ahead, please.
So, no evictions, but what I think, again, based on the extensive the complaints or sorry, the questions that were asked last time, I've just prepared a summary, but to give an assurance that 93 accounts, that's well over £1,000 for made payment arrangements. That's totaling about 170k. So the idea is that you know, tenancy sustainment, how we work with residents even when they're in arrears.
Yeah, thank you for that. Excellent. I guess we were touching on access issues with Alex's report as well, all the way through. I think we have to recognise the challenge that many people have to, the whole families have to work to be able to squeeze through, and so it is increasingly important, is it not? You know, that we don't have a rigid approach to access. How we make it better is no doubt a challenge. Louisa, thank you for that. Thank you very much. And Paul, on with Water Remedial Actions Progress Report. Thanks, Candice. Thank you.
You, Chair. Good morning, all. Again, so just to go through again to try and offer reassurance and again accountability for the water safety and what needs to happen in regards to remedial actions and planned preventative maintenance. Before I go to the report, talking about the meeting that I had with SMS yesterday was very positive. They were very forthcoming, very open as to what we need to do, how we need to achieve it, and how to give us the evidence to provide the reassurance that we are achieving what we need to. So again, without the statistics to be available, apart from the ones in the report, I will be able to give reassurance that further detail will be able to be given at a later date. I chased it again yesterday, like I said, with SMS. So again, that report should be there at the end of the week. And again, I'll be able to give further reassurance with statistics and graphs next month.
Thank you for that, Paul. I think we know that you're under a significant pressure and a challenge, and I think we just wish you an awful lot of luck. And I just interrupted you, and I apologise for that.
No, that's perfectly fine. So yes, again, obviously it is time restrictive. It is obviously we're trying to do as much as we can in a short space of time. But again, from my point of view, appreciate obviously the comments you just said. But I'm trying to obviously prove the fact that we are doing as much as we can in the time that we have. So just going to the report. So with the overview again, as I've said before, we've now got a second contractor coming on board. Urban Environmental Limited. They'll be starting with us as soon as the contract's signed to start doing the water risk assessments and the planned preventative maintenance. At the moment, SMS are still doing the planned preventative maintenance, and unfortunately, as of last month, they only completed 88% of the target that were given. As of yesterday, I confirmed that in March they have completed 100%. So again, it's to make sure that we're dealing with what we need to on a daily basis, as well as concentrating on the overdue actions that need to be resolved pragmatically, logically, methodically, as soon as possible. So moving on to SMS and obviously what they're doing. As of yesterday, they confirmed that we're about to have 7 quotes sent over to ourselves as of next week. The reason for the delay of quotes coming across was to do with the risk assessments, to do with the feasibility studies, to do with the complex cases that we've got. We have found some blocks where we don't need to mains convert straight away. We can implement planned preventative maintenance to get into the loft. There was access to the tanks, so we can make sure that it's clean, drinking, usable water. On other properties, it has been identified that we're looking at one senior living scheme to be the first in mains water conversion. The reason for this is obviously the risk, and obviously there's mitigating factors as to what apparatus is on site, what apparatus can be built and made to actually be installed. Obviously, I'd rather give the customers the confirmation first before I tell you where that is, but we have got these plans in place, and again, unfortunately, that's going to be around tens of thousands of pounds just for that one site. But again, we're prioritising on a risk-based profile on what the issues could be should obviously it continue. So we are obviously aware of the timescales around that as well, but we want to give everybody communication to make sure everybody is aware of what is happening before anything just gets approved. At the bottom of the report, it is basic detail because unfortunately that's all that's been available at the moment. And this is coming off SMS's Opus portal. So we have got 258 high, 345 medium and 32 low overdue water remedial actions. Just to confirm, when we do the feasibility and the assessments and obviously start the work, there'll be multiple overdue actions resolved at one time. However, to give you that breakdown at this point, I'm not able to, but I am able to give you, again, the breakdown as in the bar chart, just obviously the details of, you'll be able to see the trend and obviously the reduction of overdue actions. Unless there's any questions, more than happy to obviously answer any questions, but I think I'm hoping that it's give you reassurance that things are moving forward, things are progressing as quick as possible within the right methodology instead of just obviously knee-jerk reaction. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Out of these items yet to be done, are they all on individual properties, or are there sometimes actions that need to be completed, multiple actions on the same property?
Yes, there is multiple actions on the same property. So some for blocks, so you can imagine there's a lot more. Some for individual properties that are sharing water tanks, and then some that are just individual lines for one property, one action, such as flexi hose, etc.
Okay, thanks. Any more questions, Terence? No. Thanks, Paul. See you next month. No,
Thank you.
we do appreciate it, and we know where you are, the problems that you have. And as we said last month and probably the month before, we haven't lost anybody to Legionella at all. Thank you. And we don't want to either. Annalisa?
Sorry, Chair, if I can just say, yes, no, we're obviously working across all the contracts. And again, we want to be open and accountable. So again, there is a lot of work going into each and every one of these contracts that you've seen before you, and some that obviously have not been brought. Thank you.
Well, that's great. Oh, sorry, Annalisa, beg your pardon.
Sorry, can I just add, because we quite often focus on what we haven't done and the work we're doing, but we need to set that in the context that everybody has all those properties have passed their safety checks. So these are issues that have been identified to prevent any issues in the future. So it doesn't mean that these people are at serious or immediate risk. It's proactive things we're doing to make sure we don't have a problem in the future. So everybody is safe in their home at the moment. So I appreciate your comment, but I just wanted to make it's not as if we've got that people have got Legionella, or it's saying we're preventing it. It's all about the prevention.
No, I do appreciate that, and the risk essentially, when it comes down to it, is to Waverley itself in terms of statutory reporting requirements, which doesn't always match up directly with a physical risk that we would assess in other ways. No, so Paul, yes.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry. Just as what Annalise was saying, the planned preventive maintenance, we will make sure we mitigate any risk before it gets to a high risk. And obviously, we're looking at things in the future. So we're looking at, for example, as I mentioned, flexi hoses, 5-year lifespan. We want to replace them or obviously make sure we're maintaining them way before there's any risk or colonisation of bacteria. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Excellent. So moving on then to, and we note with thanks your report. Item 12 then, on Ombudsman determination and our approach to less maladministration, if I can get all those right words out in some sort of order. Who is picking this one up?
I'm picking it up.
Oh,
yes.
thank you.
Thank you,
Over to
Chair.
you.
I have to apologize beforehand that I'm recovering from a cold, so I may not be as clear as I normally would be. This report is to provide LSAB with a summary of recent housing ombudsman determination. I think I need to make it clear upfront that we don't get many housing ombudsman determination, but obviously this one came through as a maladministration. And what we decided to do is to take a deep dive to understand reasoning why we did not handle it right first time. The finding indicates, although we've got clear processes and policies in place, they were not applied consistently across the board, hence the reason why the resident was kept waiting. Following the deep dive, we met with all service leads and those areas affected, and we decided that we need to look at a robust approach in making sure that outcome for customers are clear and standardized. The key areas of the findings are policy adherence. We weren't very clear at adhering to repairs as well as complaints policy. Communication with residents, we tend to find that we are not consistently updating residents while we are undertaking works or if there are delays as well. Compensation policy, we are looking into aligning that with the recent Housing Ombudsman update. We're working on that at the moment. Needless to say that we reviewed our offer to the customer following that determination, and we made sure that it's now aligned with the Housing Ombudsman offer as well. Contractor accountability, we found that though our contractors were undertaking all the works, communication and taking accountability for when they're meant to be taking visits wasn't clear. So therefore, we are monitoring that. Paul has just spoken to you about that, and also repairs. We work with repairs. Ian Williams, we talked about it earlier. We're working very closely with them, making sure that we are communicating with customers and keeping them informed. Record keeping, we are also improving that. What the finding is that we have all our records, but they're in various places. So therefore we need to align that, making sure they're put in one place so it's easily accessible for all staff. Now the expected outcomes are outlined in the table below, which is detailed agreed action and timescale. I will not read through all of it, but I take it that it's read by everyone. The expectation here is that the recommendation is that you note the finding of the Ombudsman determination and internal review, endorse the expected output scheduled for delivery by mid-April, support the wider improvement plan and associated governance arrangement, and review future progress update reports, which we will be bringing back to you here. I'll take any questions if you have.
Lillian, thank you very much. And thank you for joining at this important time to help us through this.
Thank you.
I see that completion of all of these items is by the end of May.
Yes.
And just for my benefit, for everybody's benefit, these issues have been raised by the Housing Ombudsman rather than any other ombudsman. Is that right? They're all housing issues.
That's correct.
All right. Any questions, Terry, Janet? Wow, fantastic. Good report. Well noted. We note it, and thank you very much for that. Yeah, anytime you want to come back and tell us that what you think is end of May is end of April, we'd be very pleased to know that too.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Now, avoid standard review outcome report. Is that with Neslan, or it's agenda item number 15?
And that's me as well.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes.
Excellent.
So if you bear with me a moment, Chair. Again, I take it that report is read, and I will go through it very quickly, just touching on the salient points. We undertook a review of our void standard to ensure that it's aligned with some of our comparators in the market, in the sector, and that we are offering the best that we possibly can for our customers. I must say that this review also coincided with the Housing Ombudsman finding whereby the complaint was part of a new void property. So therefore, the two were aligned, and some of the findings from the Housing Ombudsman also informed the improvement plan for the void standard as well. The assessment covered a range of areas, including published void standard, property conditions, turnaround expected time, and tenants' communication. In addition to the existing service standard and improved information about the homes, we are proposing the introduction of a welcome visit within 10 working days. This is something that we never used to offer before. The reason behind that is that so we can have that conversation with the customers fairly early in the process, identify any concerns and resolve them as quickly as we possibly can. And also to understand that our customers are settling well in their homes and they know how to use everything that they were offered within the property itself. We're also looking, subject to IT system availability, we're looking to offer any day sign up so that we are not restricted to, at the moment, just sign up within a specific time frame. This is to ensure that there's flexibility, that customers are not kept waiting until a certain time frame to sign up as well. However, I must repeat that this is not in play yet until we get the IT system working. We are not using that at the moment, but that's what we're aiming to do. We are also looking to come back to you following a task and finish group having looked at the voice standard. We talked about Joanna earlier, recruiting the task and finish group. Their first task will be looking at the void standard to make sure that it's actually accurate and it reflects what our customers expect of us. So therefore, we will bring it back to you before we publish it. I'll try not to read the entire report. It's quite a short report, so if you have any question, I'll be happy to answer.
Lillian, thank you very much for that. Any questions, Terry?
Just one comment, really. It's good to see the voice standard in writing now, and maybe we can look forward to working through that over the next few weeks.
Annalisa?
Just to add, we know we've had a changeover in staff. We've got new people in who are picking up on projects, which is great. I just want to remind everybody that we did do a key-to-key void review that was presented to the committee last January. And so this is a piece of work that was in that plan and is coming forward. So I just wanted to let you know this isn't happening in isolation. It's all part of the bigger improvement plan. Thank you.
No, thanks for that. I compliment the writing of the void standard for tenants. It's very accessible. One question I have, where it says any fittings not installed by the council will be removed unless in good condition. I mean, sometimes people do amazing work on their tenancy, on their house. In general, what is our approach if somebody's put in a whole load of decking that is not what you'd expect? I'm just thinking back some years now to a case that I dealt with. How do we address these large things that might be in good working order up until they're not, but they're not part of responsive repairs?
Chair, when I joined, there was a complaint exactly for that. Somebody erected a conservatory or some kind of extension, and we ended up spending substantial sum of money when the new tenant came in and realized that that didn't meet the standard. So it's always going to be an issue where you have there's been well intended for the outgoing tenant, the way that it was built, but and the other issue is about how do you impose the responsibility, because in the end, it's unlike leaseholders, the tenants, we cannot impose that response for tenants to undertake and regularly maintain that structure of the building. So I think we need to have a reasonable approach on that. This is part of one of the reasons also that we went through the void standards, as well as going forward have a pre and post photographs, so that these void standards and the state, the quality of the waste being relet is substantiated. And there are byproducts as well going forward, as we are looking at that for sign up document, documents for people to have that as an initial document with the certificates and the boundaries and all those things that we've ascertained as a result of the complaints. And also we will be now undertaking 10 working days visit by the tenancy officer, so that there was one incident where a complaint came to us after 3 months of them moving in. Same resident who complained about the standard of the work on the conservatory. So now we've brought it forward so that that's called settlement visit kind of thing, so that they understand then to be able to go through their tenancy agreements and to explain, as well as to pick up any issues that they're not happy with.
Thanks. I guess if you wanted an easy life, you wouldn't come here. But thank you for that. Much appreciated. Any more questions? No. So then, lastly and finally, our LSAB forward plan. Louisa, is there,
Just sort of covering an area I failed to cover previously. Just next month we'll be bringing a report to the board on the journey of and what the progress we've made against our landlord service improvement plan. So that will be coming forward next month. And just want to just give you some quick giveaways up in advance. Just to say, of the 62 actions, currently we're 63% complete, with a further 16% on track and 21% off track with revised dates. And just want to bring one instance here. For example, where the governance board agreed to extend a date on one of the improvement actions. I'll give you an example. The asset management system was due a third-party health check. And that was due by the end of March. We've actually given a revision date of the end of October now. And that's because we're still migrating the data over, and we want to give an opportunity to get those first tranche of stock condition surveys in. So really, we're not able to. It's not a case that the assigned project has gone off track because people haven't been working at it. It's for very valid reasons where extensions have been granted. So that was all just to draw your attention. So you've seen a copy of the forward plan. If there's anything, as always, if there's any other items you want bringing forward, please let us know and we'll factor those in.
Thank you. It's just really to carry on from what I said before, that if we could note that the tenant panel will bring a paper supporting the service level agreement for next month.
For next month?
Yeah, for the
Yeah,
April.
perfect.
23rd, isn't it? Yeah.
23rd, yeah, we'll have that on. Thank you.
Thank you.
excellent. Any more comments? Lovely. Louisa, thank you very much. Which takes us on to the date for the next meeting, which is, as Terry let out, it wasn't a secret, 23rd of April. There is some changes to, do you want to remind me?
It's been changed to the afternoon now. Yeah, same day. Yeah. 2 p.m.
I'd need to check. I have secured a room. I'll have to check. I'll let you know if that's okay.
Thanks very much for that, Louisa. And thank you all for coming and spending your morning with us. And it's my pleasure now to ask Babatunda to turn everybody off. Babatunda, thank you very much for